Nick Baldwin for SevereMMA here with a middleweight fighter. It is Mike Biggie Rhodes. You're here to corner your Rufus Sport teammate Gerald Meerschaert tonight at the Ultimate Fighter 27 finale. Mike, great to meet you. Great to see you for, I guess, technically the second time, but it's been a while nonetheless. How are you?
I'm doing good. Like you said, I'm here just to corner and coach, so this is the more nervous side for me that you'll see when I'm fighting. I don't have a care in the world, but even though I'm very confident in my teammates, all of them, specifically cornering Gerald, I'm happy and excited about the matchup, and I couldn't be better.
He's taking on Oscar Pochota in a middleweight fight. It's the first fight on Fight Pass. How is he looking? I know, all the training is behind you guys. He's just up in the hotel room right now relaxing, and you guys are headed over to the arena pretty much right away. So everything's done, but how was training camp for him? How is he looking?
Training camp was great. Gerald's one of those guys who doesn't really do the whole camp thing. He trains all the time. It's consistent for him. If he's out of the gym, that's when we're like, what's going on with Gerald? He trains all the time, so it was easy. We have been looking for a fight for a long time. We don't know why it took so long to get a matchup, but we were excited about this one. Oscar's tough, really nice guy, good guy, but I feel like Gerald's just better everywhere. It's a great matchup for us. I think we can showcase, Gerald's finishing ability on the feet and on the ground. This week has been easy. He doesn't have to cut a, extreme amount of weight. People look at him, may think he's undersized for a middleweight, but he's right up there with some of the bigger ones as far as, he doesn't get small and then get big. He's just naturally in the middle all the way around, so his strength will be there. And I think this week has been great. We keep it pretty simple. Me and him, we train like his, our normal training sessions back home, one early, one late, and he's been able to do that with great energy and stuff, so I'm expecting a early finish out of Gerald.
How nice is it that he's the first fight of the night, not just for him, get the fight out of the way, but also for you. You don't have to be nervous for him, for the whole night. You guys get to show up early and take care of business and then enjoy the rest of the night. How, a lot of people like being higher up on the card, being on main card, pay-per-view perhaps, but, this feels pretty nice.
Yeah, for me especially, I'm one of those guys who, if I could be the first fight of the card every time, I would be. Like, why not set the tone for the night, pop the show off, and then get to enjoy the show? The later in the night, the more things you have to deal with, being in the back for so long, how early or late you have to eat certain meals. It just, we've been accustomed to it because we've always had to do it for the most part. But you're going to get paid the same amount of money no where you're on the card unless you're getting pay-per-view points. So why not be the first fight? Why not get it out of the way? Why not, go out and get your victory and be able to sit back, chill, relax with friends and family that have made the journey and with your coaches and teammates. So I think it's a great spot to be on the card. I know Gerald was, excited about it. He's like, well, let's get it over with, go out there, get the win. And then we get to relax and watch everything else and, kind of focus in on our other teammates, Paul Felder and Anthony Pettis, who fight the next day. So we can help and do anything that, they would need done tonight. But I just think it's a great spot to be. If you're not going to be the main event making extra money, for 5 rounds, might as well get your same paycheck and fight earlier.
It must also be really nice that Meerschaert doesn't cut much weight because obviously as a cornerman, as a coach for him this weekend, sometimes that can be quite a concern, making sure you're down to the weight.
Yeah, and I think, me and Gerald both used to fight at 170. I stayed a little bit longer than him, which should have been the opposite around, I think. But, yeah, it's easy. We literally, he had 3 to 4 meals a day plus snacks in between. He was, drinking water. He didn't miss a single meal. He literally woke up, was 185, 184 point something, had a meal, some snack in the morning, floated a little bit of weight and came downstairs and was 185, like fully dressed. So not something that we have to worry about, no extra stressing or being nervous about anything. It makes everything easier. We don't have to, taper workouts down or slow anything down. We're literally just another day. People say it, but it literally is just another day. And now he's strong. He's going to be at the best he can be because of the preparation that he does and keeping his weight in order throughout.
And one last thing before talking about yourself, you, of course, as you mentioned, you have teammates Paul Felder and Anthony Pettis fighting tomorrow night at UFC 226, both on the main card on pay-per-view. Paul Felder is taking on Mike Perry on short notice, moving up a weight class to welterweight. Pettis, of course, taking on Michael Chiesa, who missed weight this morning. That was a fight that was supposed to happen back in April. Obviously, Conor McGregor does Conor McGregor things. It's happening a few months later than initially planned. What do you make of both those matchups?
Paul Felder, actually, I think this matchup is better than the James Vick matchup. It's like you're fighting a guy up a weight class who's smaller than the guy you were going to fight down at a different weight class. It just made perfect sense to jump in and take that fight. And I think Felder beats Vick just the same, not to take anything away from Vick, but I just believe in my teammates in the training we were putting in. But Paul Felder has been training with bigger guys, so I mean he's not small compared to Mike Perry. Mike Perry's no giant at welterweight. Felder's going to do Felder things, man. He's violent. He's going to elbow this guy. I think he's going to pick him apart. I think people are going to see, like he said, a martial arts practitioner versus a guy who just comes in and thugs it up. Yeah,
Speaking of Mike Perry, he's just over there.
Speaking of Mike Perry, I think Felder's gonna put work on this guy and put him away. I think he'll get another bonus for the finish. But I mean, I was putting rounds in with him. Gerald was, Brendan Allen, JP St. Louis. He's been training with bigger guys, so it's not like he, 155 and up trains with all of us, middleweights, welterweights, 205. So it's not like he's, going to be outmatched in strength or never seen a guy this big. That's not the case. And Felder's a pretty big 55er anyway, so it's great for him. And then the Anthony Pettis situation, he did what a professional does. He made weight. Even back before Conor McGregor did whatever he did, Michael Chiesa and his camp were asking for a catch weight because he wasn't going to make weight. We spent this whole training camp knowing that he wasn't going to make weight. I think he made himself look like a fool. He tries to play himself as a company guy. He walked around here all week, mean mugging me and Gerald and our coaches. I think he put more energy into trying to be a show than he did in being a professional and making weight and being prepared to fight. We don't know. That fight still is up in the air. I think they're finishing the final touches on how much money or how much percentage he's going to take or give up. And then I think he should be held responsible for making weight again tomorrow at a certain weight. I don't think he should be rewarded and being able to get as big as he can and then trying to fight obviously the smaller guy who made weight. But nonetheless, I think Anthony destroys him. I think his skill set's way better. To be an underdog is utterly ridiculous, but hey, I'll take the extra money. I just laid down a bet on it. I think he gets him out of there early, and he's not making weight is just going to make that even worse for him because the pace and the way that Anthony Pettis has looked, it's going to be a rough night for Michael Chiesa if that fight does go through.
Curious, did you put a little sprinkle on the Meerschaert Pettis Felder parlay?
Of course. That's always the thing for me. I believe in my teammates completely and fully. So I believe Felder will win. I believe that Pettis will win. And I believe that Meerschaert will win. And so I put my money where my mouth is. So I just put a little bit on there and hope to win a little bit.
Mike Perry's behind us. So now to you after your teammates. You mentioned it earlier. I'm curious. How crazy is it in hindsight that you used to fight at 170?
Man, I just said that, like the other day when Felder was talking about fighting at 170, I was like, man, ain't it crazy that I used to fight at that weight class? And he was like, fuck, he couldn't believe I did it. And even myself, I look back at it, I see those pictures, I'm like, man, I was a young kid. Metabolism was moving crazy fast. Coming from being such a bigger guy to a littler guy, it was like kind of easy, but I definitely stayed there too long. After fighting Rob in New Zealand, he looked at me in the cage and was like, I'm going up. And that should have been a sign for me, like, hey, you need to go up, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't outsized by any match of the, imagination. We were about the same size. I figure I'm maybe a little bit, he's a little bit denser, like thicker than me, but I'm sure I walk around heavier than him, even when I'm training. So, yeah, that's crazy to think that I used to make that, but I'm trying to build my frame into being a real middleweight because I'm not, a massive guy even there. So,
how much do you weigh right now? I know you're not in a fight camp or anything.
No, I was about 216, 217 earlier this week. I was dealing with a little injury to my Achilles tendon and stuff like that. So I just been coaching and training a lot that way, just not able to do a lot of hard things, especially running, which helps me keep my weight down. And then I came off a 2-day bender out in the forest with some of my co-ed basketball teammates. So I came in a little bit heavy to fight week for my teammates, but just through eating a little bit better here, even though we're in Vegas training a couple times a day, I've been shedding weight, so I'll be good.
So you're coming off a decision loss at a recent ACB card a couple months ago. What went wrong in that fight, in your opinion? I mean, I didn't catch it myself. Was it a good decision? How did it exactly play out?
Obviously, I think I'm a little bit biased toward myself. I could definitely see myself losing the fight in the eyes of the judges, but I didn't see it going the way that they scored it. 30-27 to me was ridiculous. The first round didn't go my way. We were exchanging some strikes. I think I initiated the takedown. I think he ended up pushing me up against the cage and getting it, but he didn't do any damage. He could barely get off any punches. He kind of just held me. Anytime he tried to throw, I was getting up, and so he would have to, just hold me. But the ref allowed us to stay there. I couldn't get up. That's kind of on me. The second round, I thought I won, hands down. I outstruck him. I almost had him finish in a guillotine there. You can hear him gargling. I just didn't have the strength or the position to finish it all the way. Kind of burnt my arms out. And then the third round, I was landing the shots. He didn't land any shots on me. He took me down late in the round, but he absolutely did no work. He literally just held me there. And I threw probably 100 and something punches from the bottom, trying to get him to move so I can get up. He literally just held position. So I thought those rounds were close, and I thought I could have squeaked it. But obviously I lost a decision, to a really, really tough Russian kid, man. That Ibrahim, I think is just how you say his name. He was a monster. So it was a great experience for me, but I'm still young in my fight career in this fight game. So I think that was just a point for me to, keep training a little bit. Like I said, I got to grow into this middleweight division because he was strong, and I train with Gerald, who's really strong, and I don't get manhandled or thrown out by any of the people I've trained with, upper weight class, lower weight class. So it's just strange to not be able to get up or, work my jiu-jitsu from the bottom because of how good he was positionally. So that just means that I need to work on my jiu-jitsu a little bit more, even though, it's something I've been focusing on.
What was it like fighting overseas?
It was cool. Obviously I fought overseas a couple times for the UFC. So this was cool, though, my first time to Europe. It was a little bit short notice. I took the fight on about 3.5 weeks' notice. I was preparing to fight a guy who was like 6'6", ended up fighting a guy who was like 5'10", so it was quite a difference in, my opponents and my game plan. I wanted to wrestle the 6'6" guy, and obviously I didn't want to wrestle the 5'10" guy too much. I thought I could wear him out a bit, but fighting it over in Europe was awesome, man. The people were super cool. ACB was dope. Their European division, the people over there in Nottingham, England, Carl Prince was one of the main guys over there. He took care of me and made sure everything was smooth. I would put how they handled their fight week and everything on par with the UFC as far as, having transportation, meals, great accommodations at the hotel, the way that they, got you around places, put you in places where everything was within reach, whatever you needed for fight week. And then, I've had issues with money with, other promotions and stuff like that. That wasn't an issue with ACB. After the fight, boom, I walk into a room, I get paid. I'm good to go. So overall, it was a great experience, and if they would have me back, I would love to fight for them again.
That's what I was going to ask you about. Did you sign any sort of multi-fight deal?
No, it was just a one-fight deal for that one, and I know they showed some interest in bringing me back. My focus right now, though, is to just get a couple wins. Focus on myself, fight a little bit closer to home. Where I can control some of the variables as far as like how far I'm driving or not having to fly somewhere right now. That's all. That all plays a part in how you fight. If you acclimate well and stuff like that. So I would like to be able to control some of those variables. I don't really care so much the opponent. If you look at my record, I've never fought anybody with a bad record or anything like that. So that won't start now. I still fight tough competition and just control that, get a couple wins, and then just being here this fight week, it just kind of rejuvenated my love for the sport. I've been in it for 7 years now. It doesn't seem like it, or to a lot of people that's a long time, but it is. And you go through these waves of wanting to do it and not wanting to do it, and then just having an extreme love for it. And I feel like I'm back there, and it's motivation to get back to where I believe I belong.
Awesome, Biggie. Thank you so much for the time, and best of luck cornering Gerald Meerschaert tonight at the Tough 27 finale.
Appreciate it.